Did you just throw your phone?
No, I did not throw the phone.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Beg Pardon, Water Cooler Edition. As always, I'm your host Anthony, joined by Carlos, and welcome to the show. Not sponsored by Fiji. Did you want me to say it, or were you going to say it?
Unofficially, yeah, unofficially sponsored.
Unofficially sponsored by Fiji. So for this week's water cooler edition, forgot what I was going to say. We wanted to cover the wildfires that are raging in California, which seems to be extraordinarily commonplace as of the last decade at least. And we know that these have been going on for, a couple weeks now. We haven't, officially responded to them, mainly because, I don't know about you, but I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm not tired in the sense of I'm too exhausted to comment on something. I'm too exhausted to comment on something whenever some of the solutions we've been struggling with as a nation since well before I was born. There is not another indisputable fact or evidence marker than these fires of climate change that I could think of at all. These were tons and tons and tons and tons of lightning strikes in water deprived, heat soaked land. And that's not to even mention the parts of these fires that were caused by ignorance, which we'll later get into. But I grew up in the Midwest. You grew up in the Midwest. We used to have seasons. Do you remember those? Do you remember what a season is? And the longer and longer and longer time goes on, the less and less and less and less and less these seasons actually exist. This isn't because I'm losing that sparkle or that twinkle in my eye as I get older. These are facts. That the world that we're living in is steadily changing constantly. Mm-hmm. It's not because it's just 2020 that this is one of the most, if not now, I think the most active hurricane season ever recorded, period, point ever. All of these things aren't just by happenstance, Mm-hmm. And I'm not I don't know what you call it, but I don't think that this is the rapture either. Shout out to my grandma. But I think that it is a direct result of the manner in which we live our lives every single day. I do.
Yeah, in a way. I think it's a lot of, like I always tell you, a lot of checks were written over time. And
by who? Mother Nature? Who are we talking about now?
Well, with deforestation in general.
Yeah.
You wrote a lot of checks to do all these things and, boom your business or boom housing complexes or whatever. And you kind of, not just in California and Oregon and all that, but all over globally, the Amazon, everything, you're kind of deforesting at a rate that it can't catch up. It can't replenish itself and heal itself because you won't let it. So that's why these viruses and everything are happening more frequently, is because you have people and animals coming in contact more that would have never come in contact before. And you have more of these animals getting closer and closer to society, which is having these diseases cross over. And I think 2020 has been a culmination. There we go. English isn't my first language, folks. For all of these things, including, the virus, the fires, the hurricanes, all of these things are coming about because for so long people kept writing these checks. And like you said before, ignorance was also another one. That was 100% preventable, those fires. Those causes of the fires are 100% preventable.
Yeah.
But again,
what was that?
Ignorance.
Pyrotechnics at a baby or gender reveal?
Yeah, and side note for that, no one's having the Messiah that I know of. No one cares what your baby's gonna be. No one
Right.
really cares. You could have did that in a text. No one cares. Your baby's not
50,
Shawn
50,
Michaels.
50 odds. 50, 50 odds. You already guessed what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
there's only a couple ways that can go, you know?
Yeah, and truthfully, how was that going to change my life? Like, if somebody I knew was having a baby, and you invite me to this party, and I see blue smoke, how did my life just change? Now I know what to buy you, in terms of, like, gifts like that. But say I bought you a car seat. That goes for everyone. Like, I don't need to know what your kid's going to be.
Right.
No one cares, basically. You're making your child far more important. Again, the Messiah, yes. The stars will tell me.
You're really building them up for a loss, even
Yeah,
in the
believe
even in the
me.
womb.
Believe me, the kid's starting out with an L, coming
Yeah.
through the world.
Yeah. But imagine,
again,
side note, imagine that. Imagine that, like, going to school, growing up, knowing that, like, hi, my name's Chad, and I'm, like, it was my party that was responsible for the,
Yeah.
the loss of 5,000 homes. And,
Yeah.
I mean, not that baby would find out. I don't know. I never thought about it.
I didn't think
If I was a
you just
parent
said
to that baby, I probably wouldn't be like, let me tell you something. You
Yeah.
should go to jail.
I'm surprised.
I mean,
they're
yeah,
not.
it would be very uncomfortable to give birth in a prison, but I people do it.
You made a choice.
You
You
wrote
made
a
a
check.
choice. You wrote a check, exactly. You wrote a check.
Yeah.
And if your incident is what caused thousands of people to lose their homes,
Yeah.
lives to be lost, and all of that, I don't understand how any justification you can make of, like, well, we just wanted our friends and family to know we were having a girl. Okay, is that girl gonna save us all? Is she
Right.
gonna lead us to the prom? I don't know what's gonna happen, because again, like you brought up the rapture and stuff. I don't necessarily think that's what's going on, but again, I don't know, because no one knows. But in those terms, that child, whoever's going to be, side note again, everyone, a prophet for that child will be born not from your parents setting off pyrotechnics. That child will be born much similar to the others. There will be other signs. You don't have to tell everyone this is going to be the prophet
Yeah.
with a pyrotechnics.
Maybe just get some of those cups. You know the cups that, like, if you pour, like, cold liquid into them, the color of the cups change? What a cute idea. They turn blue
Yeah,
if it's a boy,
science.
they turn pink if it's a girl. Yeah. Like, there. That's all you need. That's literally all you need.
Or just cut a cake, like a lot of people do, and the inside is
Yeah.
whatever color it is.
Yeah.
You're going to eat the cake anyway. But it's just so... And I think in that area, like you said, that it happens so frequently, it's because they go through a lot of droughts.
Yeah.
So, I mean, almost anything. When we were growing up, I remember all those Smokey the Bear commercials where he talked about, like, put your campfire out when you're done.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Yeah. Remember that? I'm giving every 80s and 90s mascot, like, the love. McGruff the crime dog got it. Now Smokey's getting it. Like, everyone's getting the
I at
love
least
right
remembered
now.
him. I didn't have McGruff, so I didn't.
He was too busy cracking down on crime, taking a
Yeah.
bite out of crime.
He's too busy in New York. It's pretty rough over there. So that's why he wasn't.
Yeah.
He wasn't
Much like
messing around
Batman.
Ohio. Yeah. Yeah.
But I remember, like, Smokey was telling you as a kid, like, put your campfire out. Make sure, you don't have ashes. For cigarettes even, like, don't throw your cigarette butts. Because it can happen anywhere. Like, if it's dry enough, it will happen anywhere. And yes, with fire comes rebirth. There are insects, there are animals, there are things that feed off of the ashes, and they are born from all of that. Yes. But you're accelerating that rate at this point. It's not naturally happening. Again, if it was a lightning strike that caused it, that's naturally happening.
And there were a bunch. There were a bunch
Yeah.
of lightning strikes that did cause.
Yeah,
all of
and
the fires.
if it was just lightning strikes, I think it's more manageable to get the fires under control. But then when you add a few ignorant people, now you're making the fight that much harder. Like, what do you expect these firefighters to do?
Right.
And again, now you're putting other people's lives in danger because they have to fight to put that out. Remember the Australian fires? I think that was this year too.
Was it this year? See how sick. We're
Like,
like,
was it
hell,
earlier this
I
year?
don't- Right. This year has felt like a decade. 2020
Yeah.
has literally felt like a decade.
And how many firefighters went to go help with that? I mean, I saw even like Mexican firefighters are coming up from Mexico to help fight these fires. So, like, people are trying to help, but don't exhaust them with your actions. Like, this has just been the year of ignorance spreading everything. Ignorance spreading
Germs,
a virus.
disease,
Ignorance, spreading
fires,
fire. Ignorance spreading
hatred,
hate, lies.
Yeah.
It's just been the year of ignorance spreading. And I don't know why all the groups picked this year. I don't know if they had a meeting that I wasn't aware of, that they all decided this would be the year. Maybe to play off of the hindsight is 2020 episode on here as well. But I don't know, like, what happened.
Yeah. If you want to listen to a podcast before you cry yourself to sleep, like, that's the way we've been pushing these episodes lately. They're pretty depressing.
You can listen to the episode where we talked about how we cried ourselves to sleep.
Right, yeah. We have episodes where we talk about crying, so. But yeah, I you know, at the end of the day, I just, I don't know. I hope that collectively we can work together to get a lot of these things under control. Specifically, as we're speaking on this episode, the wildfires, but everything too. I mean, it's just been dog shit. Like, that's the only way that I can classify this year. Point period.
Truth.
Yeah.
And we're going to also include a link at the bottom in the description in case you want to donate to anything for the fires or anything like that. In case you want to help out any way you can, we'll put the link in there for that as well. But I hope and I pray that, you know, no one else is really affected by these fires and that they end sooner rather than later. Because, again, it's much like we treat hurricanes, where it's kind of like, we didn't see that coming and it was disastrous. Fires can be the exact same way. And I don't think the fires get that kind of attention because they're not looked at as destructive as the hurricanes. But as you can tell, they are pretty destructive.
Of a man, yeah, they're not as exciting to watch. I mean, while we're on the topic, you remember a couple years back that newscaster from the Weather Channel, and he was like being like blown away by the wind, and then the two guys were just walking behind him. Yeah. And the Weather Channel released a statement, and they're like, it's because he was up all night, and he really was like struggling to like stay up, and the people were walking on pavement, and he was standing on like wet grass, like a whole lot of like kind of like uncomfortable thing. But people like that the jazziness of like, oh look, he's struggling to stay up there, and I don't know, it's more exciting for people, which is sad.
Why there's storm chasers and not fire watchers. We call those arsonists. Like,
right.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's a crime.
Right. But we'll make sure the link's in there for you guys. Thanks for tuning in this Friday. These are exclusively on YouTube, so you won't find these on any of our podcast platforms. So we appreciate the ones that tune in every Friday for these water coolers that are exclusive to YouTube. So thanks for tuning in, guys.
And if you like this one, feel free to catch up on our previous water coolers, as well as subscribe to the channel so you can see all the water coolers and when they come out. If there's a specific water cooler topic that you think we should cover, feel free to let us know by Monday of that week, and we will try to get it out that week for that topic. But that will do it for us here on this week's water cooler episode. As always, he's been Anthony. I've been Carlos. Remember, don't be ignorant, please. It's been hard. Until next time.